Welcome to another housecoat chat, number 34. I had a typo yesterday for the episode 33. It said 333. I'm not going to change it, but oopsie, oopsie. This is all for fun, folks. This is your host, Justice Truth. It's Saturday afternoon. I am nursing a coffee. I bought some new coffee. I'm certainly liking it. It's a nice French dark roast, coffin coffee, I believe. Don't quote me. I will give them a shout out in a future episode. Well. What do we have going on today, folks? It is Saturday, and I hate to say it, I was able to get my last of my pellets for my wood stove. And the reason I'm saying I hate to say it is my supplier that provides me with pellets, Ace Hardware, is saying they're having a hard time getting locally made pellets because mills are shutting down. And it's not just the tariff business, but it's unit drip. There is there's a whole host of things that are going on in this province, and big businesses, big industry is leaving. Thank you, David Eby, and it has nothing to do with tariffs yet, folks. David Eby and Justin Trudeau are ruining this province and this country. I know, I digress. But, folks, let's get back to the tariffs thing because it's been going on all week. We heard the announcement from Trump, we've heard Trudeau respond, and yet Trudeau may have lied to Trump. He's already on a short lease with the biggest empire that is in this world right now, and that is the Americans. Yes, folks, like it or not, they are still a superpower. They are, if you look at it, just military might. They are number one and number two, and almost number three in air forces, right? I mean, the United States Army has a huge the Air Force, but the Navy, I believe, is the next biggest air force out there in the world. And you could go on and talk about the new fighter jet from Chinese, and you could talk about the stuff that's made in Russia at the moment. But those are few and far between of what the Americans have. They have an empire, and we have a leader. His name is Donald Trump. This is the second go around in the circle of in the circus, not just the circle, but the circus of politics, folks. After his first 4 years of entering the political arena, and knowing that he tried to win in 2020, and here we are in 2024, he overwhelmingly won his election. No matter how you want to look at it or spin it, he won. And the American people have given him a mandate, and they want it dealt with. And if you actually look at how the American government and how Donald Trump has been since he was inaugurated and accepted the office on January 20th, it has been a nonstop assault. And I will use that word assault because every day there's something new, there's something they're finding out, something he's doing an executive order on. Yes, I just heard Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and a few others, or not to mention the 51 former directors of the spying, they're all no longer allowed to receive any kind of intelligence briefings. Things are changing, folks. You look at what's going on, how Elon Musk did his business with the Doji, Department of Government Efficiency. And let me just chime in here because I know I'm talking about tariffs and I'm on a sidewinder here. And basically, this is what Trump said. Sorry, not Trump, Elon has said about them trying to make the government efficient. They made their announcement saying we are going to be looking at all the departments and going by line audit of where all the money is going. Elon said after he made that announcement, they decided to wait and they were going to find out who was going to be the most loudest and vocally complain that you shouldn't touch us. And we will go there first. Well, USAID, not USAID, folks. There's a difference between USAID and USAID. USAID is international development. USAID is where they give the food, the medical, and everything else. They are sort of under the same umbrella, but don't buy into the acronym that all of USAID is really USAID. It's USA International Development. And did they ever find a host of stuff, folks? And everybody out of the woodworks is, oh my God, look what they're doing. They're doing this terrible thing. Where was the Democratic outrage when Maui hit. Where was the outrage when North Carolina and all those people had their flooding and their severe storms back in the fall? Where were they when California burnt to the ground? Where were they when the California insurance companies left them? Right? The Democrats are not our friends. Just like the liberals in Canada, folks, they are not our friends. Now back to tariffs. Donald Trump has given Justin Trudeau until the end of this month to solve the border thing. And what has Trump done? Well, he's spoken. He's given Justin 30 days, and Justin has to appoint a border czar, and he has to have a joint team cooperation, which is very important because I got a nice little story to add to this. And he's supposed to try and secure it now, not 5, 6 years from now, now. Why? Because fentanyl is a Scrooge. The networks are criminal and they are extensive and they go through a whole host of our institutions that we hold sacred in Canada regarding our well being. And I mean government institutions. All right, now let's get to this little story that I read this morning. Now, I believe it came from Sam Cooper. Don't quote me. All right. But, anyways, I was reading the article. In fact, I was singing it to Danica this morning because it helps you speak better. As a person who stutters, got Bell's palsy, I am just trying to improve myself. Anyways, the story goes like this. Way back in the day, so we'll go 2015 to 2017 time period. Trudeau was in office and Trump was in office. The Canadian officials and the American officials are meeting. The American officials say, hey, we are very concerned about the level of fentanyl crime, organized crime that's going on within Canada. And when we have a meeting, we would like a certain person from the CBSA not to attend these meetings. So a few months later, they have another meeting. And the American side gets ready to sit down. The Canadian side comes in, and the Americans see the CBSA agent, higher up dude, not frontline guy that checks your passport at the border, or if you cross the border in America or whatever, right? He's a high level of person in the CBSA. The Americans got up and left in disgust, folks. We are not even within the Five Eyes, our security alliance with UK, the Americans, New Zealand, and Australia. I got my Australia in there. Anyways, folks, it is just amazing that our media is not telling you the whole story. We have to look for it and find it ourselves. Our government is one corrupt institution, folks. If you consider, and I want you all to remember this name, his name is Frank Vaughn. He is on YouTube. He is on X. He is basically, from my understanding, an independent researcher who wears his heart on his sleeve and does research. He is not asking for money. He is not asking for handouts. He's just asking you to listen to what he has to say regarding many issues in Canada. And he went down the criminality, the casino money laundering, the fentanyl production, the border, everything else. He is estimating that about 20%, and he's being kind of conservative, of our gross domestic product involves the illicit drug trade, human trafficking, and whatever else that is crossing over the border. Either direction, folks, it don't matter. It needs to be fixed because the longest unprotected border in the world was a shining beacon for everybody to see that two nations can share a border without having to have a tank and a pew pew pointing at each other, right? But now things have changed. Crime has gone through the roof. Yes, folks, the little sidebar here. I didn't realize I can actually do this, and you can check it out. That's why I'm saying listen to Frank Vaughn. Go check him out. He went on a website in Canada, folks. You can get fentanyl delivered to your door. They guarantee shipment through Canada Post. Wake up! That's all I got to say is wake up. Yes, the tariff idea, Trump bad, Orange man. You got to get rid of the clutter, folks, and you have to dig down and really look at what the situation is. The American government, our ally for many, many years, our good neighbor, is upset that we allowed criminality into the government at the rate that it is. It's bad enough that the American government is corrupt as it is, but we now have somebody in the White House who's technically trying to solve it. Hence the whole mad rush of him doing something every day. They just canceled all their subscriptions to the New York Times, Political, and a few United Press, and a few others because the government was propping up the industry with our tax-paying dollars, just like in Canada. And Politico has even had our government has given money to Politico. Our government has given money to the World Economic Forum in the tunes of the millions. The Americans did it too at 60 million. We gave them 20 million. This is a frickin' festival for these guys that go to Davos. They all arrive in a private jet. Why do they need our tax-paying dollars, folks? I mean, are we paying for the escorts that they're hiring? Because in Davos, during this time, or just at the end of January, basically, they have a lot of escorts flying into Davos. It's sickening, folks. All this money that they're siphoning off us, folks, us. There are senior citizens leaving in tents all over the place that have lived in this country. We have newcomers coming here, and our government is bending over backwards to give them everything that they need. But a senior who's lived here his whole life, or her, are living in an ice fishing tent in Nova Scotia. I may be wrong, but it is in the Atlantic Canada. And yes, I'm on a rant and I'm on a tangent. And why? Because we need to wake up, people. You need to contact your MLAs. You need to contact your MPs. I have. I'm always on X, Justice Truth. Check it out. Or even housecoat chat. That is my unverified account, which I try and send these videos out onto X on my unverified account because I don't want my other account to have all the messed up algorithms because I even included a YouTube video on X. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but forget about that. All I could say is, folks, the tariffs, Trump, and Trudeau is a triple threat on our nation. And Trudeau is going to be the one that is going to hurt us the most. That narcissist piece of poo poo. Oh, now let's get to global affairs because everybody's been talking about USA aid. And I know on my little rant earlier, but global affairs has given money for a woman to be able to try and improve feminism in Lebanon. About 25 grand, not a whole lot of money. I listened to her speak. She was quite giddy about it. But did she change the length of the burqa in Lebanon? I think not. We've also, like I mentioned earlier, given $20 million to Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. We have sent money to Guyana to help biodiversity and make sure women apparently plant crops as well. We've sent money to countries that we have travel advisories for that you shouldn't travel there, but we're sending them money to try and do whatever it is that we try and do. The waste in our government is atrocious. Even the liberals now that are trying to say we are going to cut back on the spending and consultants and all this and all that. But guess what? They should have done it a long time ago. They were enriching their friends. They're still enriching their friends. Mark Carney is enriching himself through Brookfield. You can't if you can't see it, I'm sorry, but just take a look at the HVAC companies that he's involved with for heat pumps and then go to the government website on your purchase and rebate program for a heat pump and realize that he is supplying the heat pumps for the program. And he's supposedly not doing anything within the government. Mark Carney is a globalist puppet being installed on us, and it needs to end. And hopefully, you people will not allow this to happen. I am really fearful that after the leadership race of the Liberal Party, Mark Carney is coronated the king and he is going to be an unelected official. Yes, that's correct, folks. He's going to be unelected. Nobody in this whole country voted him in, but he will be leading us. And if you actually listen to the languages he used to tell us Canadians that we have to button up, tighten up, and there's going to be a world of hurt for us. I don't like where Mark. I will rather have Pierre Polyev at this moment. Even then, I digress because I am worried about Pierre himself because he seems to be a half a step behind everything that's going on in this country. I know politics is a popularity contest. But my God, Pierre, step on the gas. You could have had this done like a year and a half ago. You could have brought Trudeau to his knees, but you chose to play it safe. And you have Jagmeet trying to do whatever he's doing and not floundering fool. I hope he just goes away. Right? And finally, folks, the last thing I want to talk about, and it's probably the most important one because understanding that there was an injunction to stop the call of family owned ostriches, the giant birds, right? Living in BC, doing nobody no harm. They're not even meat birds or selling their eggs. They're basically kind of pets, from what I understand. Somebody complained that two other birds died. So CFIA or whatever came in and they investigated, claimed that the birds had bird flu, so they must call the whole flock. Honestly, people, go research ostriches and check out how well they are for their immune system, how robust of an animal they are, and how this animal can probably help the, you know, learn about immunology. It can help us with, fighting off infections and all that, and learning about how, basically, this was a wonderful bird and it shouldn't be culled. The people that own this farm have a huge um, file of actual facts and proof that these birds are very resilient to any kind of bird flu. And yet, the CFIA is going to want to call them. There was a court injunction. Now the CFIA is playing games saying, we thought it was only meant for them not to call the birds, but we're still going to do it. Shadiness, shadiness, shadiness. And it comes from the UNWF kind of stuff, folks. The WHO. Look at what's happening down in the States with all the eggs. And if you think about stuff and go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, people are saying they want to get rid of the eggs because eggs are used to make traditional vaccines. And if there's no traditional vaccines because there's no eggs, then you're forced to take the mRNA vaccine. I digress on that. But, anyways, folks, the world is filled with a lot of information out there. And I think you need to all do more reading and researching, folks. Don't trust the sound bites. Don't trust the mainstream media in a way. It is such a wonderful tool, the internet, where you can go and research and read. Yes, first. Yes, folks, read. That's it. I'm not trying to say I'm the smartest guy on the planet. I'm not saying that I know it all or anything like that. I just somebody that reads. And when if I don't understand it, I will find a way to understand it. There's plenty of help online. Really, it's truly a wonderful, wonderful tool. And oh, yes, the ostriches, folks, they need to be saved. I know I go off on a tangent and everything else, and this video is a little bit longer than I really wanted to attend to, but let's save those ostriches. Contact an MLA, contact an MP. Her name is Odessa Orlowich. I hope I said her name right. The young lady that's on Rebel, but she's a black lady. I hate to say that in a way because I really do like her stuff that she shows off on the news, but she is a big speaker on the Ostrich story. So Rebel News is doing something. This Odessa lady, Shareware on Twitter X. Folks, positive vibes out there, okay? You see the candle that's lit, that's for everybody that's lost a loved one, however they lost it, that's lit for me as well. And I just want you to know that when you see that candle burning, it's for everybody. All right, so positive vibes. And my last thing I'd like to say is if you have not been to the SPCA, please go to the SPCA and adopt a pet if you can. Just go once in your life. That's all you need to do. That's all I ask of you. But I hope you adopt. Thank you and take care.